as I promised you guys, we're going to do a Untimely review for Watch Dogs Legion. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we are not influential enough and we're too broke to go and play games when they get released, before they get released. We review games on our own time, when we can, as we can, and we bring you Untimely reviews. So I wrapped up Watch Dogs Legions yesterday. I probably put about 20 to 30 hours into this. And Adam, you and I were talking about this, and this is one of those games. It's weird. Like, it tries some. It's a very experimental game. It does some things very well, and it does some things really badly, or doesn't quite stick the landing. And so I figured I'll kind of talk about there. This game's Watch Dogs. If you've played Watch Dogs 1, Watch Dogs 2, like, you get the general gameplay. It's sort of like a open world GTA style, driving cars, shooting stuff up. Now, what they do interestingly in this game, and you probably have heard, is they do it where there's no sort of main character. Basically, anyone in London can sort of become a playable character that you can recruit into your organization. And this was a neat idea, but once again, doesn't quite stick the landing. And what I'm saying by that is that I started with a character and I started recruiting some. And the problem is you have to go through like 2 or 3 little repetitive missions to recruit someone. So it's like, oh, like, my buddy got like abducted. Can you go rescue him? And you go like rescue him, and they're like, oh man, I need to get this information. Can you go get this information? And it's just these small repetitive missions that I didn't want to recruit people, because I'm like, I don't care to like go through this step.
And I mean, it would help if they were fun, but like the map is so huge, and they're usually put at like opposite corners of the map, so you can't.
This was a huge gripe with me. This was a huge gripe for me. So like, I'd go to a mission and it'd be like, go to the northwest corner of this map to meet somebody. Okay, great. I have a mission for you. Now drive to the other end of this map. And I'm like, no, like, why are you doing it this way? This does not need to be done this way. So like, the missions are repetitive in recruiting. So I didn't feel compelled to recruit a whole bunch of people, because I didn't bother to do all those mini missions. And this brings up another system within the game. This is like idea of permadeath. So at first I was playing this game and I'm like, I'm going to do permadeath, give some stakes so I don't want to lose these operatives. But the problem is that then forces you to do these crappy recruitment missions. And like, if your guy dies, there's a good chance he's not coming. Like, I had very rare instances, like my character rarely, if ever, got arrested. They would always just get killed. And so if mission or something, your guy's gone. And so I had that situation where I had awesome characters. Like, I had a secret agent spy, and I'm like, I'm not going to use him, because if he dies, I might need him later. So I'm using my crappy, like, middle of the road, or like, just the generic guys. And I'm like, okay, I'm not having fun with this. And they kind of got the impression that the permadeath was a way that you were supposed to play this game. But the problem is that some of your characters, like, oh, if your character is in the hospital or is arrested, they'll get recovered sooner. But when you're playing on permadeath, most of the guys die. So those skills are useless. And so I felt the recruitment was a neat idea, but it was also not done well. And it has a larger problem with the overall missions as well. So I might have a guy who is great at hacking or something like that. So he's a fantastic hacker. I don't really know what these missions are about or what's going to happen. So there's oftentimes I'm like in a mission where it's like, hack the server, and then all of a sudden you get swarms of enemies coming at you. Well, if you didn't bring a guy who's good with guns, good luck to you. And so I kind of got annoyed with that. Like, I kind of wish what they had done instead is that almost like a GTA 3 style thing, where it's like, hey, we're going to have a heist. We need we're going to need a getaway. We're going to need someone to shoot up the place, and we're going to need a hacker. And so I can sort of build these teams. Right now, it's just, you have X amount of guys. One's good at hacking. One's good at shooting. You can pick one. How do you want to approach this? And it's like, okay, well, it's not really flexible or on the fly. Like, you can't really swap out. You can't switch. So yeah, that was kind of an issue. And then the levels were also kind of seemed to pigeonhole you one way or another. Like, I felt like I was getting to the point where I was just hacking. Like, I wasn't even going into buildings. I was just, doing a drone, flying in there, hacking the system, getting out. And it was kind of repetitive and not really challenging or versatile enough. So yeah, that being said, I think it's really interesting what they're doing. I just felt like it could have been done better. Graphically, the game on the PlayStation 5 looks really good. I know when it first came out, it had some issues, but like, the ray tracing looks amazing with like water on the ground. But then at moments too, it looks terrible where you have situations where, you know, facial hair looks absolutely terrible. There was bugs in the system where, you know, things were like popping in, popping out, or just, you know, glitching a bit. So it's a game that's just on both ends. And also by having a main character, like none of the characters were super endearing or interesting. Like I don't even know what my characters' names were or who they were, and it didn't really matter to me. The only character that I felt was super interesting, there's an AI system that kind of is or running the whole organization, and that's Bagley. And Bagley was hilarious. Like he's this quippy, smart alecky, like AI, and it was so much fun just having him chat within the system. So I really like that. But I felt the game just once again with Ubisoft didn't appreciate my time and like wasted a lot. And the guns weren't super powerful as well. Like you, for the most part, like only can buy like like taser guns and stuff, which kind of didn't make the shooting super well. Like I was finding that if I was playing on a difficulty, like I was playing on normal and I was just blowing through the missions and it was really easy. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go on difficult. But the problem is that then my guys who don't have like actual guns, like they can't do, like they're taking forever to kind of get those kills. So it's just a weird balanced game. So, I mean, it's fine. It's fun, but like, it's also not like, this is a mediocre, like I'd say this game is a 6.5 or so. I got it for like $30 and I felt that was kind of worth it. It does some cool things, some neat experiments. The hacking, the whole system is really neat. Like the world is well realized, but yeah, it's repetitive. It's got some good ideas that just aren't executed well.
Yeah, I mean, I've played a little bit of it myself. Similar to you, I got it for $30, so I'm not too upset that I probably won't end up finishing this game because, again, like you said, it has some really good ideas. It's just the problem is it's like a lot of things when you try things over the first time. It doesn't go very well the first time you do it. You have to really have a few guys try it before it gets nailed down pretty well. I love the idea of a game where you can just take anybody off the street. Like, if you really like the look of that character, you like the name of that character, the little bit of backstory that you get out of them, you really like that person, you want to like see more of them out of an NPC, you can just do it. Like, if you want to just recruit a team of old ladies and just freaking walk around just caning the shit out of people, you can do it. But, you know, it's like you said.
Don't make it a chore to do that.
Yeah, it really takes you out of the fun. Like, it should just be as simple as one mission, or there should just be people right away that are just like, hell yeah, let's go. Whereas,
yeah,
it feels like more often than not, any of the people that you really want to get, like that actually have good abilities, it's a chore to get, and it shouldn't be a chore in a game unless it's like, we're talking like ultimate weapon kind of stuff. Like if it's literally like some of the best like kind of players in the game, the ones that are really hard to find, then sure, give me 2 or 3 missions. But for any random Joe Schmo on the street, it shouldn't be anything more than like a pretty quick recruitment thing. Because like,
yeah,
you know, I know that this is supposed to be somewhat reality, and you know, you wouldn't just be able to get somebody to you know, be a part of your big hacker organization going against the government. But no offense, I'm not real life here. I'm playing a goddamn video game. You got to find a balance between making it fun and making it realistic if you're going that route.
See, the way I would have done it is I would have done a situation where, hey, if you were trying to recruit someone, because like it's a Ubisoft game, so it's got burrows, it's got areas of the map that you have to unlock. And so in this game, you are.
Oh, I think we lost him again. We were just having all kinds of fun on the shows.
Burrows defiant by the mission situation. All right. Oh, am I back?
Yeah, we're having so much fun. We've had 2 hiccups on your end, and my Streamlabs has messed up twice, so it's been frozen on screens for a bit. So this is just that kind of show that I think we're shit talking Activision, or not Activision. We're shit talking Bethesda and they got mad. Now we're shit talking Ubisoft and they're getting mad. I think we just need to start being a fully positive podcast today.
No, and once again, I'm not trying to be negative. Like they did some neat things. Not all of them stuck. It's not a bad game. Like it's just mediocre, and it's just because I felt that they didn't quite stick the landings. What I was going to say in terms of that recruiting aspect is one of the things you have to do in these games to unlock them is you have to make them defiant by doing some sort of side missions. And I think what they should have done is that, hey, if you're trying to recruit someone in a borough that has not been unlocked or like hasn't gone defiant, yeah, you have to do these missions and convince that one person. However, if I make a borough defiant. At that point, I should be able to just go up to a person and be like, hey, want to come join my team? And they'll be like, yeah, sure. I know who you are. I know what you've done. So that's how I would have handled it myself. And like I said, the game design is, they don't use that mechanic of having a ton of operatives. I think they use it once where it swaps up between the two. So
Yeah, like you said, it would be better if they found a way to make it like, you know, multiple missions being done at the same time with certain kind of characters. Whereas you could literally play the entire game with one character if you wanted to, which defeats the purpose. Like there should be an incentive for you to A, recruit, and B, constantly switch between people.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like I ended up getting, like I said, my secret agent from unlocking one of the boroughs. And once I had him, like he was pretty much the only one I was using because like he was the only one that was versatile enough. And there was no reason for me to have someone who, like I had someone who shot bees and I'm like, I don't care. Like that's neat, but I'm not going to use it. Or I had a getaway driver and I'm like, what am I going to do with a getaway driver? Like there's very few times, like it's never like, hey, you need to get away from these people. Pick the getaway driver. It just happens like, oh, I did a mission and now I'm in a chase. But it's like, okay, would have been nice to have the getaway driver, but I'm not bringing the getaway driver to go hack a system because he's not good at that.
I feel like this idea would have been great for something akin to like the Division, where you could play as different kind of like specialists and do missions together, rather than a single player kind of format. I mean, you could still do it like you said with the sort of heisting kind of like setup where it's multiple pieces to the mission. But I also look at this too and be like, you know, there's obviously a game like Operation Tango out there where you have people doing two different formats. What's the thing of having like, you know, you have your guy on the outside be doing all the hacking. You have the getaway driver. You have the secret agent going in and doing all the work, and you have like the construction worker or the security guard like sitting in the background, kind of like fucking with things on the inside. Like there'd be cool ways of going about it. I mean, you could just all be secret agents and just all start at different corners of the building and just see who gets there faster. 100%.
But yeah, doing it like an Ocean's 11 style where it's, everyone has a role and everyone's contributing, as opposed to just here you have all these people with unique skills. Pick one and go do the whole mission. Yeah,
you know what? If they wanted to take this Legion concept and use it differently, this would be a great way to do it. Like do it as like what the Division should be. Because look, no offense to the Division, but it's boring as hell because it's a third-person shooter with basic combat, and the customization is non-existent because it's an apocalyptic situation. Whereas Watch Dogs Legion has a charm to it. It has like the weird like, you know, cyberpunkish like dubstep, you know, techno geeky kind of stuff. So you can have some fun with like the customization to it, which makes things like grinding out armor sets much more involved to players rather than like you would in the Division where the most you can get is a different colored beanie, you know? So there's definitely some room to take this concept and do more with it, but in terms of this game right now, it's not very well done, and that's just because it's like anything else, it's their first real crack at it. I realized as this was going, he was very well frozen, so I was kind of sitting there being like, I wonder if he's just really lost in thought, or if he's just completely frozen, and it looks like it's the latter. So I don't know. Well, he's already given his score. I mean, I would tell you guys too, like, unless he comes back, I guess I might be closing the show here unless he doesn't show up now. I don't know what's going on his end. It could even be mine. I have no idea what goes on with this stuff anymore. It's the internet. The internet doesn't tell you what it's going to do until it does it. And then you realize, oh, and there's literally nothing I can do about it right now. But for now, if he doesn't show up, look, Watch Dogs Legion, it's fine. It's honestly fine. If you can get it for a decent price, like $20, $30, it's fine. But otherwise, I mean, it's nothing special. Oh, he's finally left the call now, so hopefully he'll get back before we can end the show off. So maybe I'll talk about Watch Dogs Legion a little bit more. Look, I love Watch Dogs 2, so I was really interested going into Legion. I wanted to see something really cool with it. And, you know, I played it, and it didn't take me very long to realize, there's really not a lot of soul to this game. There's not a lot that really shines with it. And it's a shame because, like I said, the concept is so cool. The idea of just being able to take an NPC off the street and do whatever you want with it. Hi, Kaylan. Welcome back. But
thank you. I'm glad to be back.
But, like, yeah, this game could have been so much more, but I knew going in that it was probably not going to be great because I could see from this concept that it was a lot to ask for a studio that honestly probably wasn't going to be able to handle it. And I was right. Now, granted, I didn't pay full price for it, thank God. so I'm not nearly as hurt about it. So it is what it is. And, you know, it's not the worst decision in the world if you want to go and get it. So if you want to try it now, if you get a good price for it, give it a shot. Maybe you'll end up finding a lot to like about it. But don't go in there expecting, like, a fantastic game. This game is okay at best, really, when you take it all together.
Yeah. And thanks for holding that. I missed a little bit, but it sounds like you were kind of capturing what I was saying. Yeah. It's if you get this at discount for $30, it's not a waste of money. Like, it's a neat experiment. It does some cool things. There's definitely a fun game to be had here. But it's not necessarily going to be for everybody. It's not gonna be everyone's cup of tea, and it's definitely not something that like I feel is worthwhile at, you know, $80, especially as we get more and more games on our next gen systems. It'll be less and less relevant. So thank you for holding down the fort while my computer decided to crash.
I do my best, you know?
DeadSec heard me talking about, you know, talking badly about Watch Dogs and they just shut me down.
Why would DeadSec be mad at you?
Because I'm talking badly about Watch Dogs.
But you're being anti-establishment. You're going against the game being any good, so they respect that, you know?
Fair enough.